MP of Kawempe Division North, who passed on yesterday. On behalf of Parliament of Uganda and on my own behalf, I relay our heartfelt condolence to the bereaved family, to the people of Kawempe North, to the Muslim fraternity, and to the Noob Party, and the good people of Uganda. Honorable Ssegirinya was a very loving, friendly personality, had a loving personality. He was a servant leader who was loved by many people. Right from the time he was a councillor in KCCA, Mr. Ssegirinya, Honorable Ssegirinya, was always called Update. Everybody loved Ssegirinya. His work and generosity enabled the election of Honorable Ssegirinya to be in Parliament. Despite the short tenure he has lived as a legislator in the 11th Parliament, Honorable Ssegirinya served the people of Kawempe North with distinction. His record of advocacy for better living conditions and humanity was very clear. He was very particular and passionate on the healthcare services in Kawempe. I remember one time when he brought, was it a CT scan machine to Kawempe Hospital, and he brought ambulances and that kind of thing. We are all aware that Honorable Ssegirinya had been unwell for about 3 years. Parliament has all that record. And on a special note, I also want to thank Parliament because of what they've done to support Honorable Ssegirinya. The Parliamentary Commission took all the responsibility for meeting all the costs of Honorable Ssegirinya medication in both in Kampala and Nairobi. We were hopeful that one day, one time, would be seated in this house together with the Honorable Ssegirinya, but God's timing is never our timing. He's no more. He's going to be with Allah. It's a sad day for us today, as we bid farewell to Honorable Ssegirinya, whose remains are about to be brought in. The painful reality has now dawned onto us as brothers, as beloved colleagues, that death is so cruel and real. At any one time, any of us will be there. Any of us will be there. And when such a thing is happening, we all ought to be here to give a decent send-off to our colleague. There are no politics in this thing. We should never have politics when we have lost our own, because today it is me, tomorrow it is somebody else. Honorable members, we are all imperfect mortal beings whose final destiny is death. I therefore urge all of you to love each other, be there for each other, appreciate one another, irrespective of the weaknesses, shortcomings, or whichever. Let's be there for each other, and that is what we will be remembered for when we leave this world. When you look at what is happening today, you just know that death is real. Just imagine somebody was moving yesterday, Honorable Babadiri, just collapsed and died. That is also our colleague. She was with us here. So it is not something that we should just look at and think it is only for a particular person. And as leaders, What lessons do we draw from Honorable Ssegirinya? Let us always put humanity first in whatever we do. Be friendly, be there for everybody. Mr. Honorable Ssegirinya was that person down to earth. As Parliament of Uganda, we want to condone with the family, with the friends of Honorable Ssegirinya, with the people of Kawempe North, with the Muslim fraternity, and with the NUP, National Unity Platform Party, and all Ugandans, because he was a national leader. May the Almighty Allah grant Honorable Ssegirinya eternal and perfect peace. Agreed we should be here by 9, and I don't know what could have happened, but we shall talk that one when we don't have visitors.
Kawempe Division North Constituency, Kampala City, for his dedicated service to the Republic of Uganda. Whereas Parliament has with deep sorrow learnt the death of Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya, Member of Parliament for Kawempe Division North Constituency, Kampala City, which occurred on the 9th of January 2025 at Rubaga Hospital in Kampala. recognizing that the Honorable Ssegirinya Muhammad lived an industrious life and thorough hard work, dedicated and perseverance, rose from humble beginnings to become a member of Parliament. Further, recognizing that the Honorable Ssegirinya served in various capacities, including being Member of Parliament representing Kawempe Division North Constituency, Kampala City, to the time of his demise, Lord Councillor representing Kawempe North at State Hall in Kampala Capital City Authority from 2016 to 2021, International Coordinator of Love Uganda Foundation from 2016 to the time of his demise, and Director of Hope Children's Primary School from 2014 to the time of his demise. Appreciating that the Honorable Ssegirinya was deeply passionate about community mobilization, journalism, food security, especially in his constituency, as exemplified through his passionate advocacy for various causes, including
I have been consulting with the law here over the issue of the order paper. Right Honourable Speaker, procedurally, motions of this nature are either moved by the Prime Minister and usually seconded by the law, or vice versa. I am now seeing the Prime Minister is not here, and the Leader of Opposition is here. In fact, the entire front bench, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to understand, and I'm not so sure who to ask, but I'll ask you, the head of the institution. Is this a message by government being sent, vested in the death of the Honourable Ssegirinya? The absence of the entire cabinet being absent, is it a demonstration that they are disinterested in the death, burial, and perhaps sickness and everything connected with the Honorable Ssegirinya? Do we proceed normally without this House recognizing the visible and loud absence of the Central Executive? And Right Honourable Speaker, you as the head of the institution, are you privy to any information as to why the Executive is not here and why our colleague should not deserve the presence of the Executive? Right Honourable Speaker, I think this House should take very strong exception to the absence of the front bench.
Thank you, honourable members. What I can request of you, brother, in peace, I cannot be able to account for the front bench and for whoever is not here. Personally, I was here by 7. I have been here. That shows you that for me, I take the institution very serious. I take my members very serious. I have been here as early as very early. And that's why an Honorable Lob is going to speak about the motion. And in my discretion, it is me who chose Honorable Katuntu to avoid further shame.
In this controversy, but that notwithstanding, I thought nature abhors a virtue. And when there is a virtue, we have to feel it. During the COVID-19 pandemic, and protection and promotion of rights of the less privileged Ugandans to access free to air television channels during the 2015 migration from analog broadcasting to digital platforms, now therefore be it resolved by this House as follows: that Parliament collectively conveys its deep condolences to the bereaved family, relatives, friends, and the people of Uganda for the loss of a distinguished citizen of this country. Parliament takes cognizance of the dedicated service and contribution that Honorable Ssegirinya has rendered to the people of Uganda in general and in particular the people of Kawempe Division North Constituency. Right, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Seconded by Leader of Opposition, by the Government Chief Whip, by Constitutional Affairs, by Opposition Chief Whip, sorry, by Honorable Christie, by the whole House, by Honorable the Imam of Parliament, Abdu, Karim, Hassan, by Lutamaguzi, Asumani, by Honorable Mpoga, by Honorable Kifensa, Honorable Kelea, Honorable Jocelyn, Honorable Buheshu, Honorable Betty, Honorable Judith, Honorable Edith Sabina, Honorable Noelin, Honorable Honorable Eddie Quizera, Honorable Sam, Honorable Zake, Honorable Hilary, Ethel, Goretti, Asinansi, Honorable Sanja, Tiana, Kasanda, Allen, Aloysius Gold. Haven't I mentioned all your names? Would you love to speak to your motion?
Right, Honorable Speaker, the country learned of the sad and unfortunate demise and the unfortunate news of the passing of the Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya, Member of Parliament for Kawempe North Division constituency. The Honorable Ssegirinya has been unwell for some time, as you already know, and has been under the care of many hospitals. But breathed his last from Rubaga Hospital at 12:10 p.m. on Thursday, 9th January 2025, that is yesterday. The Honorable Ssegirinya was born on the 17th of January 1987 in Butale, Kadugala, Masaka district. He rose to prominence as a politician and a business person. Colleagues, the late Ssegirinya started his studies from Kadugala Primary School and later went to Kadugala Secondary School and Pimba Secondary School in Chebando for secondary school education. He holds a certificate in urban food experience from Netherlands. At the time of his death, colleagues, he has been pursuing a bachelor's degree in social work and social administration at the Islamic University in Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Ssegirinya started his public life and service to his country as a political activist at a very young age. He later became a councillor representing Kawempe Division at Kampala Capital City Authority, where he served from 2016 to 2021. He was elected a Member of Parliament for Kawempe North Division and has been part of the 11th Parliament up to date. Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues, the Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya has been a loving husband, father to 8 children, and supported many other children who are not his. The Right Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Ssegirinya will be remembered for his tireless dedication to public service. He always stood for his people and endeavored to work on the issues affecting the people around him. He passionately supported the women's economic independence through, among other things, establishing a savings circle group called the Chebando Community Development Association, which supported women-owned small and medium enterprises. He also participated in the promotion of community health care by establishing a health facility called Kawempe.
At least you can clap for what he has done, because not all of us do that.
By establishing a health facility called Kawempe North Medical Center. He was as well an international coordinator of Love Uganda Foundation from 2016 to the time of his demise, and director of Hope Children Primary School from 2014 to the time of his demise. I would like to thank the Honorable Speaker for according this great statesman a befitting sitting in this House as the law provides, and also His Excellency the President for his support to Honorable Ssegirinya through the Parliament of Uganda. The government of Uganda paid the medical bills of Honorable Ssegirinya during the course of his treatment, particularly when he was hospitalized at Aga Khan Hospital. Maybe it is fair to mention the figure, which rose to the tune of 939,268,000. This excludes other medical costs paid by government to the US and Uganda. Government wishes to extend its profound sympathies to the family, the people of Kawempe North, and the people of Uganda. Given the nature that I was trying to fill the vacuum, I'll say something outside this official statement. Honorable Ssegirinya is a reflection that in this country, you can rise from obscurity to significance. If you watched the media yesterday, 2 hours on television was dedicated to the Honorable Ssegirinya. Maybe not many of us would have that sort of airtime. Why? Because of the significance of his contribution to the political process of this country. In this country, Right Honorable Speaker, everything is possible. You can dream big and achieve big. And indeed, the Honorable Ssegirinya did exactly that. You may not realize, but even if you're a professor with 5 degrees, 7 degrees, it's possible you will not have one Kawempe North Division constituency. Education may not be everything. Even if you are as rich as Sudi, you may not have one Kawempe North Division constituency with Ssegirinya as a competitor. He beat all odds, humble beginning, less education, not all that moneyed, but somehow he rose to the top. He dreamed big and he achieved big. Right Honorable Speaker, there are lessons to learn, and you don't have to have read so much. The politics of today, Honorable Ssegirinya knew it better than those who are even educated, more educated than him. Muhammad, rest in peace. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Before I call the law to second the motion, I would love to introduce our visitors in the VIP gallery. In the VIP gallery this morning, we have a delegation from the National Unity Platform leadership, comprising of Mr. Rupongoya, David Lewis, the General of NOP. We have Mr. Nyansi Fred Sentamu. We have Honorable Nabatas Farida, Head of Mobilization. And remember, by midday, we should have finished because the body will be going to the mosque. We have the mother, Madam Nakajumba Justine. Thank you so much for coming. Then we have Mr. Other. That is the uncle to late Ssegirinya. We have that to Honorable Ssegirinya. We have Nachuwewa Maria, is a sister, a daughter. We have Bukenya Ivan, daughter. Nabu Shamim,
to pay tribute to our colleague, the Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya. And perhaps before I do that, I also wish to express my disappointment. The Deputy Prime Minister has just walked in. Before that, there was no one on the front bench. Right, Honorable Speaker, yesterday, I reached out to you intending to move this motion, given that Honorable Ssegirinya was one of us. The guidance I got was practice normally is the Prime Minister moves the motion and the LOB seconds, something that I was very comfortable with. In fact, I was glad that the motion would be moved by somebody from the government side. It was bothersome that this morning there was no one from government to move the motion. That's very disappointing. I want to appreciate colleagues from the NRM who are here. Honorable Ssegirinya was an opposition member, but you're here, as we normally do. We have lost several MPs in this 11th Parliament. May God help us, by the way. May God help us. But we are normally united in these times. Majority of those who have died belong to the opposition, I mean the NRM, but we are always here, even as the opposition, in solidarity of colleagues. We quarrel and argue about so many things because we don't agree politically and so on. But then we are colleagues. And in death, that's why we normally are united. So, Madam Deputy Prime Minister, please convey my utmost disappointment in the Prime Minister and your colleagues. Right, Honorable Speaker.
Message. Because when we're in this house, we are one. Please. Yeah?
All right, Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I'm seconding the motion to pay tribute to our fallen comrade, the Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya, Member of Parliament for Kawempe North constituency, who passed on after a very long battle with illness. On behalf of the opposition in Parliament and on my own behalf, I wish to extend commiserations to the family of the Honorable Ssegirinya, the people of Kawempe North constituency, the National Unity Platform, party he belonged to and loved, and indeed, the entire country on the demise of the Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya. Honorable Speaker, death is a painful aspect of life, regardless of the age at which one passes on. However, losing a youthful legislator at 37 years of age, who had huge dreams and aspirations, is so tragic. Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya grew up in a humble family, as we all know, as he had always talked about, and faced various challenges that shaped his life. Despite limited resources, he prioritized education and engaged in community activities. Honorable Ssegirinya was still studying at the time of his death. Some of us think when we get to Parliament, we have arrived. But he said, I'll keep adding knowledge. That's how hungry he was for knowledge. His experiences deepened his understanding of issues affecting ordinary Ugandans, fueling his passion for activism and advocacy for a better country. Honorable Ssegirinya national recognition showcases his resilience and ability to connect with diverse people, earning him respect in Uganda's political landscape. Honorable Ssegirinya first gained public attention through his participation in Kampala-based radio talk shows. He earned him recognition as Ssegirinya Eddoboozi ly'Ekyebando, translating to Ssegirinya, the voice of Kyebando. During these radio engagements, he would refer to himself as MP2B. Each time he would call, he would say, Ssegirinya Muhammad, Eddoboozi ly'Ekyebando, MP2B. And this was in the early 2000s, over 15 years before he would eventually become a legislator. This speaks of the fact that when one is resilient and steadfast, it is possible to achieve one's aspirations. When one is resilient and steadfast, it's possible for one to achieve their aspirations. In 2016, he was elected as the Lord Councillor for Kawempe North in Kampala Capital City Authority. He used this position and platform to advocate for social justice and community development. His vibrant personality and commitment to grassroots issues endeared him to many people. During the 2021 elections, Honorable Ssegirinya contested for the parliamentary seat of Kawempe North under the National Unity Platform and won overwhelmingly. He set out to serve his people in various ways, especially healthcare, filling the gaps that were created by government. Things that we do as members of parliament, which should be done by government, buying ambulances, building healthcare centers, fundraisings. Colleagues normally call us for fundraisings, both opposition and the government side, fundraising for a government health center, fundraising for this and that, things that should be taken care of government. But here we are. And Honorable Ssegirinya was filling those gaps as a member of parliament. Unfortunately, not long after he had joined this august house, he was arrested and jailed for a long period of time over the Vijambia Panga attacks on the population of Masaka region, which saw the killing of many Ugandans. And to date, Right Honorable Speaker, justice eludes the bereaved families because the question of who killed their loved ones has never been answered to date. While in prison, Honorable Ssegirinya got severely sick, and his condition kept deteriorating by the day. He was constantly denied bail, as we all saw, even though his condition was worrisome. Even when government doctors recommended specialized treatment for him that warranted him to be granted bail, the judge still sent him back to prison, where he continued to worsen each passing day. His lawyers made a plea and produced before court medical records signed by government doctors saying this man should be released on bail to go and get specialized treatment. The judge said, no, go back to jail. After a while, only for him to be abducted outside Kigo prison by gun-wielding men in plain clothes, in total violation of our country's laws. This disregard for the rule of law continues unabated in our country. And as we have witnessed, it affects all of us, including colleagues on the government side, as you have seen very recently. We must jointly castigate this and call for its end. Many Ugandans have been abducted in similar manner, and to date, they are still missing. All this is in a country which prides itself in following constitutionalism. We should be ashamed of these acts. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the denial of bail to Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya feeds into the recent narrative by General Yoweri Museveni lately. He has called for denial of bail and even police bond, something which is not in tandem with our constitutional order. While bail and police bond may not be mandatory, directing judicial officers and police officers not to give them to those before them is unbecoming and should be condemned by us all, because we are all potential victims. Colleagues, we are all potential victims. As we send off Honorable Ssegirinya, may we commit to respect the rule of law, because he suffered due to the disregard for the rule of law. Of late, we have seen threats by our country's Chief of Defense Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, threatening our neighboring countries, including Kenya, South Sudan, DRC, and the threats have extended to his colleagues in the military, and even leaders in this country. He, for example, threatened to behead and even eliminate the Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, a former member of this House and the leader of the National Unity Platform. This is abhorring and unacceptable. I hope that we can all condemn this and demand for action, because this is not acceptable. While the state continues to disregard these issues and trivialize them, the country suffers disregard for the rule of law. All right-thinking Ugandans should strive for constitutionalism and respect for our country's laws, something Honorable Ssegirinya was very passionate about. Let's fight for our laws. Let's fight for the Constitution, before the Constitution is too weak to defend us, because that time of reckoning will come, regardless who you are, when you need it to fight for you. If you don't fight for it now, it will not be present to fight for you, regardless who you are, by the way. Rest in peace, Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya, Mr. Update. Thank you.
Can I have, I still have a second. I have the independent seconding first.
And the colleagues, in paying tribute to our friend. Death is an inescapable reality that no one can delegate a person to go and die on his or her behalf. We cannot postpone our own death. Death is as old as humanity, and humanity has never gotten used to death. No one can mock the demise of another person. In the African society, solidarity was highly upheld. And I believe even up to this time, solidarity must still be appreciated when we lose a colleague, a friend, even an enemy. I was reading in the social media yesterday, somebody was saying, you should never annoy a system. You can annoy a person because a human being has conscience. And once his selfish ego has been satisfied, he can find in his heart, in his mind, a space to forgive. But a system will never forgive you. And if Ssegirinya happened to annoy the system, I still beg that the system should find a space to forgive this man. He has already gone. The one who moved the motion, which I'm here to second, concluded by saying, may your soul rest in peace. The leader of opposition also spoke the same word, may his soul rest in peace. What is this word, rest in peace? Rest in peace, it is a Latin word. It is derived from the Latin word, which means rescate in parse. It means an idiom meaning the person has fought the good war, has won the race, and is to go and rest in peace. A lot has been spoken of our friend, about our friend, the good things he did in the mighty constituency of Kawempe. And I believe no another leader after him may actually do exactly, or those who will come after him may do what he has actually done to the people of Kawempe. Right Honorable Speaker, some 2-3 years ago, I met at the entrance of our parliament a lady being supported to walk up into parliament. And later somebody pointed to me that that was the mother. This is the mother of the Honorable Ssegirinya. And I think, Right Honorable Speaker, this woman was coming not looking for bread, but for the breadwinner, her breadwinner, to find justice. And justice was not given to her son. Mommy, Allah is the good judge. In the Holy Bible and also in Quran, especially in the book of Prophet Isaiah 57 verse 2, he has found the place of his rest. And I believe the Honorable Ssegirinya has found a place of his rest. All the achievements he has done, the eulogy is being given by his colleagues, with the exception of his enemies. I believe it is a credit on his side, and truly he will find rest, he will find peace. Uganda is bleeding. Right Honorable Speaker, we need to accept this. Uganda is bleeding, the country is bleeding. And I don't know when will this country find the right bandage to bandage the wounds of this country, of Ugandans. We are living in wounds. Everyone finds joy in hurting another person. Much as they say politics is a dirty game, we should be the sanitizers of politics. We should find the right detergent to sanitize politics. Otherwise, I want to pray for the soul, for the peaceful repose of my brother, the Honorable Ssegirinya, to rest in peace. Thank you.
Hajat. Let Hajat.
I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, you will excuse me, I'm sick. But I want to bring apologies on the behalf of government. I was called this morning at around 8, and I was told that we are supposed to move the motion at 10. So because I was sick, I decided to start preparing myself. When it was approaching 9, somebody called me from your office and told me it is 9. So that was miscommunication on time. So I'll apologize on behalf of government that it was not intentional.
Hajat,
and it was...
Hajat, I don't want to believe. Hajat, I don't want to believe on miscommunication because I would take the responsibility. The order paper is very clear. And when I adjourned the House yesterday, I said we are adjourning to 9. Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Let us take the blame. But because I'm saying that I was sick, I was not here in the House, so I'm saying I'm apologizing. And in addition to that, I want to say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. May the soul of Honorable
Prime Minister,
Muhammad Ssegirinya rest in peace. I thank you.
Amen. Amen. Honorable members, let's send our friend in peace. And we'll send him in peace. Cow?
In supporting the motion to pay glowing tribute to the fallen colleague, the Member of Parliament of Kawempe North, the Honorable Ssegirinya Muhammad. Madam Speaker, some genius coined an adage, and I want to say it verbatim, that the greatest loss in life is not death, but that dies inside us while we are still living this curse. Speaker, when you see the conspicuous absence of the front bench, save for the two honorable ministers, it speaks volumes. It throws egg on the face of government, but also speaks volumes about this particular adage that I've just quoted. Honestly, death is non-partisan. It has no side. In death is when you would expect us to be united. We expected a concerted effort of the entire House to give a decent send-off of our colleague. But it's rather unfortunate, Madam Speaker, that this has happened to this House. Moreover, in the past, it has not been the case. Madam Speaker, some genius also coined something which looks...
Yes, an order. Hajat. Honorable members, you'll allow me excuse Hajat to go out?
Yes.
Please.
Madam Speaker,
Sure.
I was putting the House in order to allow me action. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
No, I realize that's what I've sent.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I was alluding to another quotation.
Honorable members, let's try to speak faster so that a number of people speak. We have only 1 hour to go.
Okay. Madam Speaker, let me delve
I am not the one determining.
Written eulogy. The country mourns a spirited patriot, an incredible politician, an activist, a father, and a selfless leader who dedicated all his life prioritizing the interests of the people. Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya, fondly known as Mr. Update, has left an indelible mark on the people of Kawempe North, and Uganda at large. His journey from a casual, energetic, social media enthusiast to a member of parliament was nothing short of an inspiration. In the year 2021 elections, the Honorable Ssegirinya contested for the Kawempe North parliamentary seat and won it, defeating seasoned politicians. During the first 3 months of his tenure, he has taunted many by achieving remarkable milestones, including the construction of a hospital for the underprivileged in his constituency. He also launched the Sec Box campaign, a savings initiative targeting low-income earners. By promoting a culture of saving, the initiative has uplifted thousands of struggling families and has become a cornerstone of his legacy, Madam Speaker. His passion for social justice, rooted in his upbringing and personal encounters with injustice, saw him protest over unfair taxes and unjust government policies. For instance, in the year 2015, while still a councillor for Chebando at Kampala Capital City Authority, the Honorable Ssegirinya was arrested at Parliamentary Avenue, just very close to this building, for protesting over digital migration by carrying a television set on his head to the office of the then State Minister of ICT, the Honorable Nyombi Temple. His major concern was the government's interference with the right to access information on the TVs free of charge. The Honorable Ssegirinya argued that it is government's role the world over to give information to people without any cost, whereas less privileged Ugandans were to be cut off on air for not buying decoders following the digital migration policy. We appreciate him. And Madam Speaker, may his soul, the soul of our beloved colleague, settle in eternal peace.
Thank you. Youth?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. It is sad we lost a friend. Honorable Ssegirinya was my friend, and I will remember him for his tireless advocacy for the right of the marginalized community, especially his people in Chebando. His fearless and outspoken criticism of social injustice and human rights abuses. I will also remember him for his passionate representation of the people of Chebando and Kawempe in Parliament, his commitment to fighting for the welfare and well-being of his constituents, his unwavering dedication to principles of justice, equality, and freedom, his role as a vocal and influential leader in the National Unity Platform, NUP Party, his ability to inspire and mobilize young people from Chebando to take action and also demand for change, which he never achieved, his courage in face of refusal to be silenced or intimidated, as government and on behalf of government, and as someone who believes and supports everyone's equality. I apologize for all the mismanagement that could have happened during his life when he was on earth, and I believe we should do better. We should do better going forward. We should allow criticism where need be, and I pray his soul rest in peace. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the world, most gracious, most merciful. It is He, the Almighty Allah, who has been explicit in Surah Al-Mulk, the surah that glorifies his might. And it says, and I'll translate, تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي هلك الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. That blessed be to the one Almighty Allah, in whose hands rests all the authority, and he who is most capable. And that it's he, Allah, who has created life and death, that all humanity shall endure, and he says shall endure, in order to serve as a test to all of us. In many different surahs or chapters of the Quran, Allah has been explicit as he spoke about the journey that we are all going to take. And he says clearly, death is inevitable to all that are there. It's not a law, because laws we can sit here and amend anytime. But death is a must that no human being shall evade. And Allah says that we shall test you with fear, hunger, loss of wealth, and loss of life. Therefore, death is a test, for which test shall only be passed by those who leave behind in perseverance and those that retain patience and do good things. Every passing on of a comrade or of an individual is a testimony to those that stay behind, that what shall be spoken about you. Honorable Ssegirinya, today on the topic, Ya Muhammad Rabban. When I knew you as a young man, you are called Richard, and you stepped forward and told us that I've seen the light and I would like to join Islam. And he gave the Shahada, and he said, indeed, I believe there is one God, that is Allah, and I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad is his messenger. And he was welcomed with pure hands. This pure soul lying here today did not turn back, but he did one noble thing. He did not break his umbilical cord from his relatives. Because keeping blood relations, even when you change religion, is a sign of worship in Islam. And even when you convert and you turn your back against the people that fed you, the people that raised you, is a sin in Islam. He did not break that tie with his mother, with his uncles, with his brothers, and neither did he do so with his children. Therefore, he lived by actions, trying to induce others to join the path that he joined, but he did not coerce them to see the light. In all he said, as I saw him as a young man, he was a radio caller. You know, these callback people on the radio. And he used to say, Honorable, one time I would like to be a member of parliament. And I told him, Honorable Ssegirinya, it takes steps. He said, I'll jump all those steps. So he tried first in 2011. I told him, you will not go through, and he'll bear witness when he stood against Honorable Latif Sebagat. Then he came back and he asked me what happened. I told him, you're fit to be a councillor. Then he said, in 2016, I'll vie to be a councillor. Now I'll follow you. I'll heed to your advice. Indeed, he heeded too. He went and contested and tried to seek the FDC party ticket, to no avail. He came back to me and jokingly he said, I have no ticket. I told him, it's not the ticket, it's the people. Go to the people. By then he wanted to get the symbol of the clock. He went there, it was not available. On the first nomination day, he came back and said, I don't have the clock. I told him, go and pick whatever symbol is there. He chose the table. Then he said, but I'm too short. People will think I'm a joker. I told him, use the table to your advantage. Fabricate a table, go to every trading center and stand on the table and tell the people when things go wrong, I'll stand on this table and you'll see me as high as possible passing on your message. Indeed, finally when, and on a lighter note, finally when everyone had realized that Ssegirinya was taking this vote, the FDC candidate moved around with the microphone saying, I'm Ssegirinya Muhammad, please vote for me. I'm the one with the symbol of the key. So Ssegirinya ran back to me and said, there is something wrong. This person is saying he's Ssegirinya Muhammad, but vote for the key. You know the symbol of the key. So I told him, get a microphone and go back with the table everywhere and tell them it's me, Ssegirinya Muhammad, the one on the table. Indeed, he did so, and he came out to be victor as an independent for the first time. Having arrived at lightweight stories, he contested to be Speaker of KCCA. He contested with the Honorable Kawalia here. And Ssegirinya Muhammad got one vote, which was his vote. Then he said, this world is really very funny. Even the people that nominated me did not vote for me. But he said, it doesn't matter. History will record that a courageous gentleman called Ssegirinya once stood to be Speaker of KCCA and had 2 nominees, but only got 1 vote, which he was sure was his own vote. So history must register now that there was a courageous man who took a step and never thought failure was the end of life. Failing at times is one style of training us to be better. Finally, I would like to thank his party for having come out boldly to grant him the ticket to run as MP Kawempe North. He fairly deserved it. He went through a lot that we all knew, but let me talk about this, Right Honorable Speaker. The discretion of court in granting bail. I pray, and I would like to address this to all politicians. Please, let us not try to interfere with the works of courts of laws in using their discretionary principles in adjudication of court matters as regards matters of bail. Because bail is one of the rights, is one of the processes where people acquire a free and fair trial. And having this temporary freedom probably would have helped this gentleman go and try to seek medical attention. He would not have gotten lost. But finally, we have him here. And it's us to talk about it here and then and then and that. I think we can do better. I know there are those that do crime, and courts will pass judgment on that person that should not be in society, and that person that should be let to be out and, you know, carry on their court matters while having access to doing their work or being out, having temporary freedom. Therefore, finally, Right Honorable Speaker, from Allah we came, and from Allah we shall all return.
Thank you.
May Allah receive your soul to Jannat Firdaus. May peace be upon all of you.
Thank you.
I thank Parliament for according that gentleman right there this tribute. I stand here in seconding the motion on the floor of Parliament to pay tribute to Honorable Ssegirinya Muhammad. Madam Speaker, the gentleman who is standing there, who is lying there, was my friend, at least in his later days of life, because we spent 2 years almost under incarceration. We talked together for all those days. We talked about so many things with him. Before the incarceration, I had not spent 20 minutes with Honorable Ssegirinya, apart from this politics of ours of the opposition, of sharing dreams together, of leading this country, and we would talk about it on radios,
and in rallies, political rallies. But when I sat with him for 2 years, I realized something, that the people had another picture of Honorable Ssegirinya, yet he was another person. The Honorable was seen to be doing things crafted like comedy, but he was very serious in nature in doing his things. He was a very intelligent man who could tell you things, and those things could happen. He was a genuine man who had that genuine love. For every person, he said that he loves him. He was an ardent supporter of change for this nation, not because he disliked those who lead this country in person, but their policies, because he grew up as a poor man in a poor family. He hardly spent 2 or 3 years with his father because his father died at a younger age and he was a soldier of this government. And that impacted so much on his brain, being fatherless and the father dying under unclear circumstances. He tried so much to come to Kampala through so many means, Madam Speaker, to fight for his dreams. But what disturbed him so much was about our incarceration, that after standing on the tables, after talking so much to see to it that he scores that goal he wanted so much, to be a member of parliament in this country, there came uncertainties and the fate fell on us. He said, in his own words, that what would I want after being a member of parliament? I am a poor man from a poor family. I'm going to earn close to 25 million, because for him he thought it was to be 25 million. I can now touch 5 million at once. Now what would I want next? But because I wanted to serve my people so well, there might be envy somewhere that I predict as a person. He was someone who would joke, Madam Speaker, as a person. He would crack jokes and we would laugh for almost 2 years. But again, I also put my voice on those members of parliament who have mentioned it clear, and the public at large, that the right to a fair hearing entails a right to bail, because everyone is innocent until proven guilty. This man, after only 2 days, he started complaining of his chronic sickness that he had before incarceration. And he wanted to seek for medical attention in Germany because he was coming from Germany for such. And he had been prepared for another day for treatment by a specialist who was coming from India to China, to Germany in some hospital. And that chance wasn't given to him because of denial of bail. Madam Speaker, I thank you for your support to this gentleman, especially during all those times we were under incarceration. But I again cry to this government that today Honorable Ssegirinya is lying there. Everyone knows that the government cannot go away from this, because the Honorable, if he had got that medical attention area, even government wouldn't have spent 900 million. It would be him to facilitate his own medication, and he would be alive today. But because of that and such politics that we have in this country, that is why that gentleman is lying there. If you look at his children, they are too young to lose a father who was very courageous, who has gone through hell to have something on table for his children and the mother. Madam Speaker, it should come from all voices of courage, whatsoever the party you belong to call for better leadership of this
Thank
country
you.
in a united way. Honorable
Thank you.
Ssegirinya, we shared so much, we talked so much in person. I know that you went to God, an unsatisfied man, because it wasn't your time to go. But because of politics, you have gone. Rest in peace, Honorable Ssegirinya. Fight harder,
Thank
Honorable.
you. Thank you. Heidi?
Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, thank you very much. Is that in every situation and in humanity that ever happens, that you must learn a lesson, and that lesson must help you to live better. If we know that we should fear God, we should know what God wants, which is not easy. That's why we should always respect one another. Secondly, the second thing is that life. People who study about life. Everybody has his own life. So, as long as we know that there is God, and there is life, and there is also life after death, I believe that Honorable Ssegirinya, who is lying there, feared God, and as members of parliament and as government, we should know that what we are doing, does it please God? If we do things that don't please God, then we may not have space where we say that we shall be there and life will be better.
Thank you.
I thank you very much. May He always in peace.
To pay tribute to a colleague who has passed on. And I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for being our leader, because you have been there for the members of Parliament, both in hard and good times. You have not abandoned your members. I want to extend my condolences to the people of Kawempe, whom he has been leading, and to the parents and relatives. Death is non-partisan. We have lost a colleague, and I really thank members who have come to pay tribute, because it's all our journey, regardless of our disagreements on this earth. I did not know Honorable Ssegirinya so much. We just met in Parliament here. But the impact he made on the people of Kawempe, and all of us who followed the news yesterday, I think very few of us can summon the kind of attention that he received. In one way, I want to thank my friend, the Honorable Minister, Honorable Baram, for the statement you have made, because I think you acknowledge that there could have been some learning points for us that we should pick as the people of Uganda, so that we can live in harmony amidst our disagreements and be respectful to one another. I thank him for the work he did, and to the people of Kawempe, I think you will remember him for the good things he has done, and let us continue to be there for each other as members of Parliament, because we represent the people of Uganda. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you. Haji Idi.
Thank you. In supporting the motion, Ssegirinya, on behalf of the people of Bunya County South, on behalf of the people of Soga, and on my own behalf, I rise to pay tribute to the distinguished servant of the people. But, Honorable Speaker, personally, I did not spend a lot of time here with Honorable Ssegirinya. I surely don't have a lot of history and story to tell about Honorable Ssegirinya.
But I have, just like any other Ugandan, been following Honorable Ssegirinya as a common man of the people, as a servant of the people, and as a counselor, just like the motion has here, has to travel this journey. Because death is a journey half of my people, and to say, may his soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un.
I rise to join you and the House and the country in paying tribute to a son. Madam Speaker, I never got an opportunity to interact 2016 after he had become a councillor. I particularly remember right behind on any function, and that captured my attention, not because I'm to the extent that whether the function was in Uganda or outside Uganda, Ssegirinya would be there. And the people of Kawempe have lost an icon. He had big dreams, but I want to thank the Honorable Katuntu for putting it very reach your dream, and that was the Honorable Ssegirinya, who dreamt big, and your dedication to this House and to your members. We are so grateful that we have you. And
switch on.
I want to thank you finally for granting an honor that the country pays this tribute to the Honorable Ssegirinya. We are so grateful that he has been. Thank you so much. May his soul rest in peace.
One thing is, Honorable Ssegirinya was a very, very good fan of women. So can I first hear from Wopa, then I come over.
This parliament, the people of Masaka, and Uganda as a whole. Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Ssegirinya spent a very short time in this House. And yesterday, when I was watching NTV, it was more of a documentary, watching his works and the short time that he was actually in this House. I kept wondering, supposing Ssegirinya had not been in prison, what kind of person would he have been? What more would we have seen? That, well, what could he have done beyond what we have watched in just this short time? And it saddened me that the people who elected him did not actually see much of what he would have done for them. I actually want to applaud him and thank him for his dedication and support to the women. In putting up that health facility at Kawempe, he actually also ensured that every mother that gave birth at this facility went home with a box, a SEGI box, a savings box with, I believe, some startup capital. That was support to a woman. I also want to thank him.
Honorable members, clap for SEGI on that. Who of you have done that?
Even in Right Honorable Speaker, he encouraged mothers to deliver at the health facility. And this was actually free of charge. That is actually maternal health. That is support to a mother. I also watched him on several occasions. Can I just conclude? Taking food to the vulnerable, and most of them were actually women. So I want to applaud him and thank him for that. And I want really to tell this parliament, we make laws. Can these laws be respected? Can these laws be implemented? Why should we see people being tortured? When we have the Anti-Torture Act, it's clear that there is torture, and this law must actually be implemented. Access to health care is a right that should not actually be denied. And Right Honorable Speaker, arresting people, can we plead? The police, people should be arrested, but with dignity. It hurts me to see people being thrown under those chairs, Madam Speaker, in pickups, under the chairs, irrespective of who you were. Today, as Philip Bongole Rutaya said, it is me. Tomorrow it is someone else. Let us stand up and defend the Constitution, but also point out some of these wrong things that are being done. The people who are torturing are not government, Right Honorable Speaker. These are individuals who must actually be held accountable. So with those few remarks, Right Honorable Speaker.
Belong to government. So if you generalize that it is the government, then it is you and me and everybody. These are individuals. You get it, eh? Count of update.
Much obliged. Right on the Speaker, I would like to join
Honourable
you
members, listen.
and the House in paying tribute to our departed brother and a comrade, the Honourable Ssegirinya. Right on the Speaker, I would like to extend my sympathies and from those of the people of Masaka to the family, the children, and the mother in a special way, because she had this special attachment to his son that I witnessed and touched over time. I thought, right on the Speaker, I would say much here, but then on reflection, I thought not necessary anyway. I'm going to just make a few remarks in recognition of the legacy of this gentleman lying before us. We do not choose the time we bow out. It's not in our space. And I have been scanning through the commentary relating to his demise. And you could tell that there's not a single phrase or statement or word that would afford him a befitting epitaph. Probably his life has been a cocktail. It was a short life. We could not master exactly where his journey would end. But like I said, we don't choose when we bow out. He never chose this. I followed closely on behalf of Parliament. Then, as leader of the opposition, when he was arrested, I followed him and his brother, the Honourable Ssegirinya, through the challenges in prison, falling sick. Ssewanyana, I beg your pardon, right, Honourable Speaker. And the troubles went through to secure clearance of the medical board for his treatment, away from treatment in prison and from within the country. I want to thank you, right, Honourable Speaker, for the effort. At one stage, the right Honourable Speaker had to do a money hunt for members of the medical board to convene and clear the treatment of Honourable Ssegirinya. It was tough. It was tough, and we were losing time. We were losing time, and he had to be driven to the tarmac for emergency treatment. Suddenly, his illness and eventual demise exposed our systems. The state system as being weak and porous, incapable of a coherent investigation to give a decent man justice, incapable of a decent prosecution. The entire exercise in which he was being prosecuted tainted with a lot of inconsistency, and you could feel a sense of, revenge and retribution, this whole thing. And for me, that should not be part of our life. I'm glad the Honourable Minister for the Youth has made a commitment. I want to see you follow through that commitment. That, Madam Speaker, I beg your pardon that I make these statements, that the hunting and hounding of the opposition must cease. The Honourable Ssegirinya had so many friends. And I want to thank his friends who stood with him in prison and hospital. Even when he left prison, and some friends were questioning how he was released, yet they knew he was very sick. That for me was inhuman. Secondly, to thank the medical team at Nsambya Hospital, Dr. Sechitoleko and team, Lubaga Hospital, Sister Dr. Grace Nanyondo and the team. They did a great job. And of course, the team at Aga Khan Hospital. I visited Ssegirinya at Aga Khan, and I thought we had lost him. But the mother stayed strong, and the young man called Kasaga was taking care of him very closely. I found them desperate. And the doctor at Aga Khan asked me, but can't you manage this in Uganda? And I felt a sense of really shame on my part. Right on the Speaker, as I conclude, he's left us.
And his departure has exposed the pettiness, the callousness, the emptiness, the insensitivity of politics and politicians, Right Honourable Speaker. And we need to learn from both sides of the House, Right Honourable Speaker. We need to appreciate that our sense of humanness should never disappear regardless of the disagreements that we find ourselves into. What became of our sense of humanity? What became of our Africanness? That with the suffering and the sick should never be exploited, should never be used for politicking, should never be used for, to milk politics and political space. Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, while this man was suffering, I'm concluding, we're jostling for his position in Kawempe. What happened to us as politicians? As was ill in hospital. And I made sure all those that are supposed to know get to know. They never visited. They were plotting for his position in Kawempe. This is very callous of politicians. It must stop. We don't choose when we go. Our sense of sensitivity should never get away because one of us is suffering. We must feel for each other. And this I'm saying to both sides of the House. Right Honourable Speaker. To the Honourable Ssegirinya, you fought your battle. You did your bit humbly, with humility, with a little, in terms of exposition, in terms of capacity. We shall escort you not as a villain, but as a victor in these very small spaces in which we struggle to make a difference. Sleep well, my brother.
Thank you.
For the loss of our gallant fighter, the Honorable Ssegirinya Muhammad. It's a big loss for Ugandans, for the family, and particularly to our party, the National Unity Platform. I condole with our party president, and we really appreciate his efforts in guiding sporting talent of this nature. It's a sad day in our politics, in our party. The government has spoken massively with their absence here. They never liked Ssegirinya when he was alive. And it was going to be surprising if they loved him in his death. Thank you, government, for being honest. Ssegirinya passed away fighting for a cause. And that cause is still here for us who are still surviving. He was an activist fighting for the well-being of his people, and the people of Kawempe North will be forever happy with the contribution of the Honorable Ssegirinya to that part of Uganda, and in Uganda in general.
Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable
Thank you. The country has lost Ssegirinya. The country has lost Ssegirinya. Yes, Hajat?
And first, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm surprised that we are not ashamed to come out and brag being part of government, while we know that many times the executive has arrested our people unfairly, while we look on helplessly. Even when we don't believe with them, we just look on helplessly. Right Honorable Speaker, we know members of parliament many times, we give out money to people that approach us. Government trumps up charges against our colleagues just because someone gave money to someone and they say he sponsors a killing of people, 50,000 shillings. We should be ashamed to own up such things and say we are part of government, because I know we here do not condone that as parliament. I would like to remind colleagues, probably some of you missed this, that the man lying before here, while he lived, one of his highlights, I'm being quick because of the time, he led a team of people that were mourning loss of a child to a father that had deserted a mother with his child and dropped the body to a father and told him, you deserted the child all his lifetime, now take care of the body. That's the man that is lying here. He associated with people through thick and thin, whatsoever the circumstance that they were. Right Honorable Speaker, this parliament should disassociate itself from the ills of the executive. They arrest people that they know that they are innocent. They only arrested him and incarcerated him just to silence him. They knew he spoke so loudly outside, and they knew how dangerous he would have been if he had been left in parliament. He said we should not say that he's going to rest in peace. He willed we say that he should continue fighting hard. Comrade, fight hard. We shall fight on. We are not going to rest until we secure.
Honorable Sanja.
The disheartening news. When we received disheartening news on the passing on of our colleague, the Honorable Ssegirinya Muhammad, it was very, very unfortunate and so sad. Right Honorable Speaker, I take the opportunity to thank you so much, together with the Parliamentary Commission, for organizing this special sitting where we are paying tribute to our colleague. Colleagues, death is a fact of life, and when it has come, it has come. We cannot run away from it. But I would want to take this opportunity, maybe because of time, first of all, to extend our heartfelt condolences and sympathies to the bereaved family, to the National Unity Platform, Kawempe North constituency, and also Parliament of Uganda upon the loss of our brother. Madam Speaker, allow me share with you two experiences in Honorable Ssegirinya life. The Honorable, right here, when he came to Parliament, he was surrounded by several petitions in regard to his academic qualifications. And I closely monitored the matter because I was a friend. I want to go on record thanking the office of the LOP, which was occupied.
Switch on.
I want to go on record thanking the office of the Leader of Opposition, occupied by the immediate former Leader of Opposition, the Right Honorable Matthias Mpuga, the office of the Speaker, and the Uganda Caucus, where I am the General Secretary, because indeed we did a lot in regard to keeping Ssegirinya as a member of Parliament here, because then he was surrounded by so many petitions, as I said, in regard to his academic qualifications. But the experience I want to share with you people here is that Ssegirinya, and I want to allude to that fact, he was a bold and courageous person. When he was taken to court in regard to academic qualifications, I, for one, even when the matter related to academic qualification, I did not touch his academic documents. He kept giving excuses until a technicality came up. You remember he was served in Kitaria prisons. And the issue was whether or not service can be done through a prisons officer and not to the person themselves. So together with the lawyers, we confirmed and experienced a fact that is unbelievable, because the issue was on academic ground, but we were moved from that ground to a technicality. That was his boldness. Because the ground was he lacked papers in regard to the requirement for his nomination. But I can tell I can tell you, honorable members, the Honorable Ssegirinya here you see was a bold man. I remember thinking he was a comedian until the Secretary General, Council Louis Rubongoya, confirmed to me that he was just a brilliant man because he himself also was following up the matter. Madam Speaker and honorable members, we lose a person who is very courageous to that extent. He has kept in Parliament here the substantive matter of the petition here. All the grounds, particularly the one of academic, the issue is not the academic ground, the papers. The issue is the technicality. I was in prison when these guys served me. They served the prison's officer and papers, not qualifications. Be serious. The other area of experience, Madam Speaker, I would want to share with you, if time allows. When Honorable Ssegirinya got some relief, heresy relief from the hospital and was discharged, when he came out, he insisted and he kept telling us that he would stand in 2026. Some of us were worried and probably praying for him to finish the term because the health challenges were really very big. But he kept insisting that he would stand and win. When we talked to the family members, they also tried convincing him, look at your health, not the constituents. But Ssegirinya was very bold and very courageous to the extent that he was even thinking about the 2026 election. This is the man. But the last appeal I want to make to the family members here, because usually, and I'm always sincere with myself when I decide to, the people of Kawempe North have been very patient with Honorable Ssegirinya, and indeed he was very appreciative. They never demanded for his representation here, because almost all the time he was in hospital. They never petitioned for whatever reason. Usually in such circumstances, you would find the family sitting where there is a by-election. The family sitting to try and forge a way such that they get a member probably to take on the term and finish this term. For example, I would appeal to the family. I humbly appeal, just in case such a thing comes up, let's be holy and give the people of Kawempe North, as well as Ugandans, to decide their fate on the representation. I thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
God bless.
Honorable. Thank you. And then in the VIP gallery, we have Honorable Asumani.
Here, at one time, Madam Speaker, a former Attorney General was brought to Parliament.
Honorable members, listen to Honorable Seungu.
Was brought to Parliament to pay tribute, but his body could not access the chambers. I want to thank you very much for that courage you've put in to have Ssegirinya brought here. Motions of this nature, Madam Speaker, always when the leader of government business is moving a motion, normally he gives the cause of death. He will give you the medical history. For example, when you talk about Ssegirinya, what happened when he went to prison at the time he was bailed out. And it's not a surprise. That's why I'm thanking you. Of course, what could the Prime Minister give us here as head of government business? So her absence here is not a challenge on us. Because members of Parliament have been with since we began the 11th Parliament. Ever since these two members were arrested, we have always been together. And honorable members, I want to thank you for that spirit across board. Madam Speaker, I don't know how it happened. My former boss, the leader of opposition, Matthias Mpoga, my boss now, and the chief whip assigned me duties to see how Ssegirinya's papers would be processed. And I did that work very diligently under your guidance. I cannot forget thanking someone, a gentleman called Mr. Arthur Mugabe. Mr. Arthur Mugabe has always been in the opposition. He's among those people who was helping us to move all documents around. The clerk of parliament. The clerk of parliament. I used to call him several times about the challenges and the documents for Honorable Ssegirinya. The mother of Ssegirinya, the family, the legal team, Honorable Shamim Marende, Madam Speaker, is not around. They did a commendable job. Madam Speaker, I remember when I came to your office at the time of the arrest, I cannot exactly happened when I came to you, but at least we did good work. I spent all the time, at least every week, I used to visit these people in prison. It was very painful. Ssegirinya was a friend. And the Honorable Ssegirinya Muhammad, I don't know where he is the one who made us learn Ssegirinya in the 9th Parliament. Whenever we were traveling out for sports, East African Games, Ssegirinya was moving with the Honorable Ssegirinya. That's how I think he got interested in joining politics and others.
Clerk, whoever is drilling anything must stop. The House is sitting.
Lastly, Madam Speaker, honorable members, I want to thank the ministers who have endeavored to be here. Thank you so much. That's courageous, because this kind of, it cuts across. May he so rest in peace. I can't go beyond that.
Thank you. Thank you.
On behalf of the Muslim Parliamentary Caucus that I chair, I want to extend our deepest condolences to the family and also to stand in support of the motion. Right Honourable Speaker, I will not claim to know Honourable Ssegirinya so much, but what I can confirm is that we've been together for the last 12 years. When the Honourable Ssegirinya reverted to Islam, he came to my law firm. I am the one who made the deed poll. That made sure he comes from Richard to Muhammad. When he undertook to join political activism, he knew he needed legal rescue. And for all the time, he has had troubles with police and the courts. Even before he came to Parliament with the Honorable Sewanyana there, they were very good clients in our law firm. Right Honourable Speaker, when the Honourable Ssegirinya wanted to advance his education, because I had lectured in the Islamic University, in the Faculty of Law, it is me who advised him to go and study from IUIU, and even helped to secure for him an admission, and I'm also aware that you've been also contributing to his tuition. But Right Honourable Speaker, how shall we remember the Honourable Ssegirinya? There are two things, and I'm happy that now the Minister for National Guidance is here. The only contribution we can make for the Honourable Ssegirinya is to withdraw all court cases against the remaining accused persons. I know, Right Honourable Speaker, I know that under the law, when an accused person dies, automatically the case will terminate. But remember, he had co-accused. And one of them is our colleague here. And it's really very apparent that up to now, and the others, they I think about 7 or 8, something like that. So the only way we can give justice to the Honourable Ssegirinya is to withdraw unconditionally all the charges against the co-accused. Because, as we have said, there is really no evidence against that, and I am glad that the Honourable Minister was here to apologize. Secondly, Right Honourable Speaker, it is also important for us to appreciate where the Honourable Ssegirinya has come from and those who stood with him. When we were in popular resistance against life presidents under the leadership of the Honourable Mwanga Chivumbi, the Honourable Ssegirinya were the people that were amplifying our voices at that time, because we were opposed to the removal of age limit. Well, you people here, we are saying it should actually go. It was the Ssegirinyas at the time. As Ssegirinya has been my MP, because one of my families, one of my wives and the children stay in Kawempe. And he's been one of my MPs. We've been going to the same mosque in Kawempe and Bogo. So as a constituent, we've lost a very meaningful, a very contributive member of parliament. And Right Honourable Speaker, we want to thank you for the support that you've given. I am aware of the dynamics that led to bringing this person, Honorable Ssegirinya, here, and we have had to compromise some of the Islamic principles, but I know you stood with the family, and we are really very grateful. And as we usually say, people, Speaker, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, from Allah we came and to him we return. But there is a history, Right Honourable Speaker. And that history, briefly, Allah says, وَبَشِّرُ صَابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا صَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ راجعون. Give glad tidings to those who, when they befall such a calamity, remember that from Allah we came and to him we return. So, and I thought as chairman of the Muslim caucus, I would dedicate on that aspect why it is so. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Sto. After Honorable Chivombi, then we shall have our Saba Christo, the representative of the Catholic.
Of the Buganda Parliamentary Caucus, Honorable Ssegirinya, up to last month, for all his difficulties, he was subscribing to the organization. Right Honorable Speaker, a lot has been spoken about Honorable Ssegirinya that I don't need to repeat. But Honorable Ssegirinya, Right Honorable Speaker, how did he become an MP? And why is he here? We had just started a young party, barely 5 months. And the party was faced with a difficult choice in Kawempe North. The incumbent MP, my brother, Honorable Latif Sebagala, was also seeking a re-election. The organizing secretary of the party, my brother Sulaiman Chidandala, was also seeking the party ticket. And the humble Ssegirinya. Now the party had a choice to make. But in one of the discussions, and I hope the President will excuse me for doing this, in one, Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu of the National Unity Platform, in one of the discussions, and I think together with the Secretary General and the leadership of the party, we asked a fundamental question. What is the National Unity Platform for? And what does it represent? And whom does it serve? It boiled down, Right Honourable Speaker, it boiled down that the National Unity Platform was for the downtrodden, for the commonest of people. And we asked, who are the people that represent them? And there was no debate. Honorable Ssegirinya represented what the best of our party represented. And in virtue of that, a decision was taken to give him the party ticket. And from that, he became a member of parliament. So we would like to thank the president of the National Unity Platform and the leadership of the National Unity Platform for taking a bold decision that finally gave us Honorable Ssegirinya. Right Honorable Speaker, I've known him since he was a young man. We trained quite a number of young people. And I think I was asking Asmani Basalirwa whether he attended our training every Saturday, by then at the Democratic Party. So many MPs here had gone through that. And that's why the National Unity Platform also is having a school to train young people. And there was an attempt by the authorities that be to close that school. The only way we can have more of the Ssegirinya is to pick them up and train them, mentor them, and give them to the country called Uganda. And we hope to continue doing the same. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, let's be courageous enough. Maybe Ssegirinya, maybe, would have lived longer. Had the authorities, and especially, let's be bold, had the president not intimidated the judiciary. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, General, he brought judiciary to the extent that the judicial officials feared to give bail to Ssegirinya and his likes. Let us speak true to Mr. Museveni. Let us speak true to the powers that be, that what is given in the Constitution cannot be taken away by a declaration. Uganda cannot return to the days of Idi Amin. The attempts now to take away bond, bail, for whatever nature, courtesy of the pronouncements of the President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and we must say enough is enough. Honorable Ssegirinya, rest in eternal peace.
I want to where Ssegirinya came from before he came to know. Council Yusuf. Council Yusuf. I am going to give you people to speak.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Honorable members, I also call party where I'm the whip and where we believe that actually we nurtured and mentored as opposition. At FDC, say, passed through our hands. He was part of the young activists who are trained to have a change for the better for this country. And most times you would actually see Ssegirinya behind all pictures where Dr. Besigye was leading that crusade. I can say as Deputy President then, and also the head of the youth, as their patron, Ssegirinya was always very humble and obedient to all instructions of change. Without any pay. He was Walidi. These are people you could just call on and say, please do this, go do this, don't do this. And they were really obedient. So he died in vain. All his shortcomings, especially, and needed. In fact, when he converted to Islam, he consulted me and one Haji called Matov in Wandegea. No, let me start with that. So when he started that school, he also contacted me through a doctor called Dr. Ukos near Fairway. And he said, the little money that I've gotten, I want to put in with a poor background, but thinking about the community. We shall carry on with the crusade that he and
Lucy.
Right Honorable Speaker, the man lying before us here, the late now Honorable Ssegirinya, it is indeed very painful to the country at large that we've lost such a darling of the people. Honorable Ssegirinya has been a very close friend, very close to me, because there are very many things we have in common. He's an activist, he has been one, and I have been one as well. And I am still one.
And you're still one.
Right Honorable Speaker, it's been unfortunate this morning that still government was unable to stand with Ssegirinya. Because we all believe and know during his political life, especially MPship, it has been persecution from still this government. But I need to beseech the government and still call upon the government that there is still time. You can stand with Honorable Ssegirinya in just two ways. First and foremost, to drop the charges, but most importantly, to bail out all the political prisoners in prisons in Uganda. I've always been, for the 2 years Honorable Ssegirinya and Honorable Ssewanyana spent in prison, I put down all my nice suits, just like one I put on today, and decided to wear free all political prisoners, written on all my clothes. For those 2 years, I call upon government to free all political prisoners, but most importantly, to bail them out as they are being tried for us what we call the persecution. That is very simple. But most importantly, General Museveni can still do something very, very, very great to the people of Uganda for this reason. Because Ugandans believe Honorable Ssegirinya died because of Mr. Museveni intimidating the judiciary not to bail out Honorable Ssegirinya. Everyone believes that. So let General Museveni at least this time give Ugandans the most important gift and not stand in 2026. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Honorable, that Honorable, just like even the Lord had said, Honorable Ssegirinya had his long illness. Let's not forget that. Maybe there was a lapse somewhere, but he had his long illness. Lucy, then Honorable.
I want to repeat the words for celebrating his 50th priestly anniversary. Please, in the interest of peace in this country, who have been in prison trial. These were his words. If you go back, you can watch this video. This was an appeal from the man of peace himself. And on that day, he launched a very important book entitled, Stop Fighting, Start Talking. How I wish as a country we would talk more and stop fighting. We would have less death. I know my brother had his I know my brother had an illness, but if he was helped properly, maybe in time he would not be where he is. Personally, I visited Chitalia. I visited some of the political prisoners. I am telling you, if you're not strong-hearted, you will not stay there for long. None of us wants to be there. And I don't pray that any of us ends up there. And what you do for yourself, actually, we should practice what we call self-love. If you don't want it to be done to you, don't do it to somebody else.
Thank you.
As a
all family is Catholic.
Yes, that's what I was coming to. He accepted that the rest of the family can maintain, and that is for me, ecumenism and harmony in the family. Thank you so much. May God bless you. And as a Catholic,
in the VIP gallery, we have Honorable Akol Rose Okulo, the member of the East African.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
It is still your people's.
A tribute to our fallen comrade, whom I got to know in 2007 through activism. We used to share a lot, but again, I also got the opportunity to serve with him at City Hall. When we had just joined in 2016, he was a member of the Standing Committee of Physical Planning, which I was chairing at that time, but it was always fun. We joined KCCA when it had a lot of challenges, most especially when it came to trade order. There's a time when the former executive director of Kampala, then Jennifer Msisi, wanted to send off all the boys who were operating on the streets of Kampala when government had no plan to relocate them. We fought tirelessly with him. For those who remember, that is the period when he committed himself, also turned himself to be a market vendor. He had passion for the common man. No wonder God had to pay him. I want to thank the Almighty God who turned Honorable Ssegirinya from the lowest of the low. We used to share a lot, and we had so many issues in common. One of them is that we had both lost our dear fathers when we were still very young. His commitment to fight for freedom for this country was real. For those who think that Honorable Ssegirinya was a comedian, it is very wrong. He wanted to see a new Uganda. My message goes to government, because we all know what transpired. Honorable Ssegirinya went to prison so many times. He was not charged for theft. He wasn't charged for defilement, but he was always being charged for fighting for the common man. I call upon all leaders in this country, let us try to put our country first, as how Honorable Ssegirinya has always been doing. We are going to miss him, most especially as the people of Kampala. When we are contesting for KCCA speakership for the first time, I contested with him. But he never had any personal vendetta with me. We stayed friends, and I recall even after the elections, he approached me and told me, okay, you have challenged me, but again, I want to serve on your council. We trusted him with the chairperson of the Public Health Committee, and for those who remember him, he spent almost a month running all places of Kampala, celebrating on how he was being appointed as the chairperson of the Standing Committee of Public Health. We are going to miss you. May your soul rest.
And I want to appreciate you, Right Honorable Speaker, for appointing this day and time to give Parliament a moment to send off our brother with honor. Right Honorable Speaker, I stand here as one of the MPs who has been sick most of this term. And I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for standing with us and making sure that we get treatment both locally and internationally. Right Honorable Speaker, some people think that it is fun to travel for treatment, especially people outside there. As much as we sympathize with other Ugandans who cannot afford to go for specialized treatment outside the country, I want to tell colleagues that it is quite very difficult and very challenging to be seeking treatment outside one's country. In certain areas, you are greatly limited